Knowledge by itself is not power. It holds the potential for power if we use it as a guide for action. Edward G. Griffith. Beware the head of the snake. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for entering the Tiger's Den. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for spending your time in the Tiger's Den. We will try not to waste it. It is Monday, March 20th, 2023 AD. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to stand on ceremonies. This is a special report. With me today from the Foxhole and Knights of the Storm, Jason Barker. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason, it's a little dark in here. The reason I did this was basically what I see going on is a call to action by Sir Donald Trump, the orange. We're just on a radio show, and it's blasphemy to say this, but the orange Jesus. And I'm worried about people. It's not so much that I want to get up here and bash on Trump or stand on a soapbox and bash on people that think that Trump can save us. I'm more worried about people because I know that there are people rotting away in a jail right now, and he did absolutely nothing for. Now, all of a sudden, because there's an election cycle coming, he's going to pardon them when he could have done that a long time ago. So, if you watch us, you know that I think Trump was the disaster president. I agree with Donald Jeffries. It's the Trumpenstein project. It's just a puppet or actor for the central bankers to do what they want and usher in more. And that's what it is. So, tonight's whole theme tonight, and it's going to be a quick theme, is this. Don't be an idiot. And I'm going to be harsh. Don't be stupid. Don't be an idiot, a moron. Don't be a troglodyte, okay? Don't be a simpleton. Don't be any of those things. Don't be a Visigoth, okay? Don't go into any area and protest the arrest of this fool, because this is all professional wrestling. Jay, what do you think about what I just said?
Oh, so if there's no there, okay, if it's a bullcrap arrest, Trump's got plenty of money. Unlike the January 6th people, he's got lots and lots of money that he can get a good lawyer and be like, there's no founding there, and just get him off. So why raise people up? If you go read my Substack, I talk about the winning through losing. Trump's making himself a victim right now. He's making himself the underdog. And the fact that he's pushing freedom cities and things like that, I think that Trump's willing to bend. I think he's willing to compromise to go along with the globalists to do their agenda, but they just got to get his popularity up. So you got to make him a victim a little bit, But You know what? I mean, these people that he's asking to go out, they probably don't have freaking $20, $220s to scrape together, as if that's worth anything, because it's fiat. But they're going to spend all their money. They're going to take time off work to go out there and protest something. He has the money to get a lawyer. He grifted how many millions of dollars off to stop the steal, and he is not stopping these people in J6. So don't be a chump. Don't be a Trump. Do not go do this thing. Please do not, because you're going to be sucked in, and it's going to feed into the narrative of people who stay home. And they're going to think, oh, what a victim. What a victim. What? Is Trump a Stacey Abrams now? Is he what is that? Lori, what's her name? The freaking, it's a trap. What's her name?
Oh, Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, I wish I
Lori Lightfoot. Oh, I'm a victim. I'm a victim.
Don't use that.
They voted me out because I'm a black, I'm a minority, whatever. Well, how'd you get voted in the first place, man? Like, seriously. Come on, don't play. He's playing the victimhood card right now. He's saying they're picking on me. They took the election from me. And, I would agree. There was some shenanigans with the elections. I would agree that. But that's Trump's fault. Can we agree on that? Is this his fault for the lockdown?
Well, sure. And then, all of our listeners know this. And this isn't for you guys. This is for you guys to share to other people, because we've got a lot of, some people still kind of cling on to the MAGA thing. And this is, Jay, you brought something up that's it's going to be irritating because we have an election cycle coming up. See, and this is the thing. a lot of these people who follow Trump, they're like brand new to like, oh, the FBI is corrupt. The CIA, they're corrupt. All these agencies are corrupt. Look, they're going to charge him with something that's stupid, that's not real. And it doesn't matter. It's all a show. Even the voting, Jay, I even think the voting, it was so blatant. It was so publicized. It was so easy to see. It was so easy to catch on camera that was done on purpose too. I really believe that, just to irritate, just to cause this whole giant tidal wave of nonsense that people are getting caught up in. It's like what do they call it? A riptide. People are swimming in the water and they think that they're in America. You're not in America anymore. It's not like that, guys. You got agent provocateurs playing Jedi mind tricks on your rear ends. When you go to these things, you got them on alt media. You got people who they don't care. They don't care about you. All they care about is their money and their clicks. I'm reading stuff financial system collapsing in 8 days. The sky is falling. Buy my overpriced gold and silver, or do this or do that, or buy, that's what, all that is out there. So you got from people who are just grifting to COINTEL PSYOP agents from all the I agencies, probably across the world, in these things, getting everybody all fired up on something that's not going to help us. And the election cycle is going to come, and CBDC might be brought to the forefront by some people, but everybody's going to forget about it because some moron's going to say, oh, I'm going to stop CBDC on the right, and everybody's going to follow him, and he's not going to stop anything. And it irritates me to think that we're going to watch all this happen, Jay.
I want to touch on something you said. You're talking about the FBI. Let's just talk FBI, CAA, NSA. Let's 3-letter agencies across the board. Number one, they're unconstitutional. I'll just say that straight out the gate. I'll say that because they are armed. Are they not? They carry sidearms. They operate within the purview of our country. And that takes, and they fall under the executive branch, right? So that is a standing arm. Do I have a gun here? I don't have a gun here handy, but I'm going to show you a gun that's an arms, right? Yeah. So if I have a gun on my hip and I work for the executive branch and I'm operating as an executive inside the U.S., I am an army. That takes congressional approval, and I'm not even allowed to do anything executive-wise. It's like disaster relief and stuff like that. That's how our country is founded, and it hasn't changed. I don't care what the precedent's been, what's been set. That has never changed in the entirety of our country. That's not changed. We just allow it to happen.
You got a bunch of lawbreakers running things. You're not going to get justice. You're not going to be able to protest peacefully without having stuff. I'm not saying don't go protest, because I don't peacefully protest. I don't know how to stop this. I mean, this is the problem, though. Gerald Celente says this all the time. The Berlin Wall. How did that happen? Those people went there and they stayed. And it wasn't just like 10,000 people or 100. It was a lot of people. They went there and they stayed. We are not in a position to do that because we'll all go broke and lose our homes. So I feel bad for the people who get duped up into this. They get trapped into this. It's like an animal trap, and they get trapped in it. And here, and then they're rotting in jail right now. And this guy is a trickster. He is a deceiver. He is not a savior. He doesn't care. He's like a central banker. Central bankers don't have sovereignty to countries. They have sovereignty to power and to themselves, unto themselves. That's how he is. He's not a Christian. He can call himself a Christian. He's not that either. He stuck his head out at that abortion rally, at the Right to Life rally, and everybody thinks he's some major Christian. He's an adulterer. Okay, all the things he's done in business are not Christian-like. So this guy, back to this, don't be an idiot. Don't. And you should be.
Hey, can I jump in real quick, AT?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just, back to my point. What I was trying to prove was that all of these agencies, which are unconstitutional anyway, he had control of them.
Yes.
Even during January 6th, he still had control of them. He could have shut it down. He could have shut it down anytime he wanted. He never did. Look at the people he appointed. I think Chris pointed this out on his show earlier today. Who did he appoint? The wrong freaking people. There was never any doubt in my mind at this point that he didn't want this to happen to make himself a victim so he can get a bigger victory next time. I don't know. These people are crazy. They're crazy.
He loves it. He loves this, dude. He loves this right now because this, like the Babylon Bee said, this is getting him reelected, right? That's like what they're trying to do.
Well, what's happening to the people from January 6th? Why do you want to be like that? Why do you want to be abandoned by the person that you worship? You know
That's what's happening. You see this picture, ladies and gentlemen? This is what's going to happen to our friends and people who are getting kind of awake, but they're not. Jay, look, the Abercrombie, the weird stuff, all that is great, but that is not going to help us right now. We need people whose their noses are in all this other crap, who know about the stuff that we're talking about, okay? And now the Trump people, they're all, because of the cute cult, we got all this stuff being intertwined. Then they group in. See, this is what this does. This is what January 6th did. They group in the Q. Then they group in the reptiles. Then they group in the, all the other crazy stuff that people, even if it's real, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it is real. I don't know. But there's a lot of interesting clues and details to be looked at. But if it gets grouped in, other people don't know this. They don't sit at their computers and do hours of research to find out about this stuff. These people are trying to live and they don't know about any of this stuff. And without getting a small percentage of them people, just a little bit, who are kind of halfway awake, in the Trump or the Republican side or even the left, to come over and get the rest of this, you're not going to do it with the bombastic nonsense. And I'm seeing a lot of that. And it's all going to happen all over again with this election cycle. By thunder, take my eyes for what I've seen and things this world that are coming to an end.
Can I throw something in, man?
Brother.
So when I was on Don's show, we were both on Don's show, right? And we talked about the January 6th. We want to talk about the January 6th coverage that Tucker Carlson did, right? And I was like, did anybody freaking notice what happened in that week? That everybody was attacking Tucker Carlson for covering that, right? I mean, this is stuff we've known for over a year. Like, there was nothing new presented that we didn't already know. There was nothing new. He just kind of packaged it up nice to make it a good presentation. But everything was already out there. Nothing was new. But then everybody focused on it. Then what happens? Oh, we got an executive order comes out for CBDC, right? We got all kinds of stuff. We got Trump talking about, freedom cities. Yeah. We got all kinds of crazy shit that's right along the lines of the Davos and World Economic Forum agenda, 100%. The 2030, for sustainability, everything. And then once the Tucker Carlson thing runs out, now we got we get the Trump thing with the rest. It's a distraction, folks. If you don't understand it, it says, do not give your money up. Spend your money on local elections. Spend your money to get someone to vote it in to nullify what's coming down, because it is coming down. And I promise you, it's coming down fast, very fast. You're going to go to your store and you're not going to be able to use your credit card. You're not going to be able to use your cash.
Jay, we have broken down. How many reports have I done and you done breaking down, dude, from the nuts and bolts on how they're going to do it, with all the sledgers and all that other, remember all the brain melting stuff we went through, breaking all this stuff down months ago. I keep saying it's coming. That's the theme to my show. It's coming. CBDC is coming. Look at the central bankers are doing. Yeah. They're bringing it in. And this election cycle is going to come. And this is the problem that I have with this. I'm not trying to down anybody or anything like that. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff that needs to be looked into. I get that. I really do. But right now, we're in a lot of trouble. I've been looking at conspiracy stuff, ladies and gentlemen, since 2008. And I've talked to a lot of people now lately who have been even longer than me. Okay. And they all say the same thing. What's important right now is the CBDC, the medical tyranny. Okay. The heinous experiments that are going on the public and that have gone on the public, ushered in and produced by the person you see on the screen, who then took his loyal followers. This is what this man did. He brought us the vaccines. He produced them. He had the central bank produce the money, gave it to the vaccine companies, warp speeded it, produced them, funded the lockdowns, okay, with your tax money. Okay, this is your savior. Okay. All right. funded the lockdowns with your tax money, did the made executive orders, okay, for red flag gun laws and bump stocks, setting a precedence for executive gun control. That's another great thing that he did. Okay, then on top of it, he got everybody down there, collected the money from Stop the Steal. I was listening to David Knight. He got all them $250 million, okay, from Stop. Yeah, yes, Jay.
I want to say one more thing, and I did a breakdown on Twitter on this, and I did the math. I did a deep dive into the freaking math, right? So that little stimulus check that you were forced to take, I couldn't even refuse it. I was forced to take it, right?
Yeah, me too.
That stimulus check, if you're a taxpayer, you're paying more than 4 times back, which is why your tax return sucks this year and will suck for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Trust me. He is no say, and he was a boastful MFer that signed a big freaking piece of paper that said, I sent you that. I sent you that money. Like it came from his pocket. No, it came from our pockets, but it's our pockets from the future.
Came from your grandchildren's pockets. Yeah. What? It came from our grandchildren's pockets.
Yes. And we're going to pay 4 times what it costs. Like I broke it down. I wish I could find that tweet. I should retweet it.
Oh, by the time the interest rate.
No, I literally looked up all the stats, like how many people pay taxes, what's the tax rate, what's the tax returns, everything like that. Okay, so I get this much money back. What do I have to pay back to actually pay that back? And it was like literally 4 to 5 times.
Yeah, I believe it, Jay. That's the way all this is set up, because everything's set up by central bankers. Okay, they have a formula to make sure everything goes in their favor. They're all the central bankers, and they will make sure that.
I didn't even account for interest. I didn't even account for interest, or I didn't account for all the handling of all the little people in the middle, because you know when you spend $100 in the government, when they tax you $100, maybe $1 gets spent on the end product.
You're not supposed to.
I didn't even account for that.
Little man, you're not supposed to understand that. I am a central banker. Anyway, so then he gets everybody down there, makes money off of it. Okay, they go down there, they do this, which I understand. They were mad. Okay, they were passionate. They were protesting something they believed that was thrown in their face, was stolen from them. Okay, I get it. But then there's this guy. I mean, I get it. I really do. But what happened to them? They all ended up here. Here. You have families. You have people who love you. Jason and I love you. Okay? This is for everybody else. You can hate us because we're not falling for the Trump Kool-Aid. Okay? We're not drinking it. But for God's sake, I'm sorry, God, I didn't mean to say that. For this thunder's sake. Okay? Now I'm going to have to do a lot of penance for that. I don't use the Lord's name in vain, Jane. This is probably the first time I've used the Lord's name in vain in 8-9 months. So anyway, that's how angry I get about this. For thunder's sake, ladies and gentlemen, don't waste your time going there. If you want to protest, grab a Pat's Blue Ribbon, open it up, drink it, eat a couple of donuts, do that. But don't go down there and protest. I mean, do it on social media if you're going to do that. But this isn't the guy to protest for. He is the swamp. He is the establishment. Even if he doesn't know it. I don't believe it's incompetence. I believe he's just, I believe he doesn't care. But even if he doesn't know it, he's so incompetent. This guy's the establishment. Central bankers run him. Central bankers run everything. Forget Biden. Forget Trump. Forget all that nonsense. It's the central banks. It's the dog-robbing, snake-headed gypsy tin benders at the central banks. They run everything. Forget the politics. Get local. Try to, forget the WWE of politics. It's bullcrap. And I'm done.
It's tag team, bro. It's tag team. And if you read, like I said, that Substack article I wrote, we talked about tag team and tag in, tag out. Yeah, it is the bankers. And I'll tell you this, man. I actually found out, I did a little research, and this is something we'll cover maybe on next nights. Did you know the CBDC? I was really digging into what is it? What is it? Why is it being pushed so much? Why is all these people pushing it? And what is it for us here in the U.S.? The CBDC is it's basically like a crypto that they call a stable coin. And I love how they use these names, right? They use names, stable coin, because they know the dollar is so freaking unstable. They got to name it stable, kind of like the Patriot Act, right? Or Freedom Cities. It's going to be labeled the opposite of what it is. So I looked up what a stable coin is, and I wish I had it up here, but I can kind of go off of my brain here. A stable coin is something that's based off of, it's not like a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is kind of something that we're saying, well, there's going to be only so many of them, and it's finite. So it's kind of backed off itself, right? Like there's only so many. So your certificate of your ownership is only worth X amount of % of the total.
Right.
Which is how we used to be with dollars. You know, your dollar bill was, you know, if there was $100 and there's 100 grams of gold, each dollar is worth a gram of gold. Then they print 100 more dollars because they're greedy. Now your dollar is only worth a half a gram of gold. That's how they deflate your currency. So your one gold's worth of labor just became half of that labor. So your 1 hour worth of work just went down to 30 minutes worth of work. So you can't freaking retire. And that's just basically nuts and bolts of it. But anyway, so the stable coin that they're trying to base the CBDC here in the US is pegged. They call it pegged. That's a different terminology. Of course, they always got to play with terms, right? Words are important. They say it's pegged to the dollar, basically backed by the dollar. So if we're going from the dollar, which is a failed system now, which is a bubble now, and they're going to do a CBDC, which is pegged to the dollar, what is the difference? The only difference is the level of control. That's exactly it. I want people to understand that.
Exactly. Good point, Jay. Good point. And hey, I'm in the chat here. We got Chris Graves. What's going on, brother? The mastodon of researchers. And we got Twisted Pistol in here. And I'm going to read his comments because they're excellent. Twisted Pistol, dude, you're hitting the nail on the head 100% because it's the same thing with COVID, right? They have the same operating procedure like they did with COVID, like they're doing with the CBDC, everything. But okay, so Trump produced all the vaccines. He produced all these hammers, right, dude? Then he gave them to Biden. And Biden, mandatory, you know, tried running that crap through, right? But Twisted Pistol said this: Trump had to step aside to protect his brand, let Biden get the blame for what he did in 2020 and come back as the savior, and then he will issue CBDC. Establishment needs the savior to do it. For the right, you are 100%, dude, hitting the arrow on the head. And then he also went on to say that Trump is the greatest asset of the banks. Right now, through him, they can get away with anything from both left and right. Censorship, lockdowns, MRA, all because of Trump. That's right, brother or sister, not sure. But listen, that was my thing. He is the guy, okay, the disaster president. They can do whatever they want under him because the right, they'll follow him off a cliff like a herd of idiots. And then the left, they can blame everything on him. And they did that. They had that set up before he got elected. I noticed that before he got elected. I'm like, this guy is dangerous. He's a disaster president.
Can I say something, AT?
Sure.
And if I can't get through to people that still, and my family probably won't talk to me after this, but if you're a Trump tard, look, you see all this ESG and all this other stuff, you know, like environmental social governance and inclusivity. What's it called? Exclusivity, whatever the hell. Everyone's got to be the same, right? And everyone's a victim. Everyone's a victim, right? Who has been played more of a victim than Trump? And he's doing it again right before the election. Can you not see it? He is playing into the doggone freaking socialist kind of ESG kind of crap where he's going to be, I'm such a victim. They stole the election from me. It's so unfair. They're attacking me. You know what? You had the power to do something about it, man. You didn't do crap.
Right.
And now you're going to cry about it. And then what? You're going to lose an election again? I mean, I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win because he's going to go down with these freedom cities that he's pushing, which, by the way, is on public lands. So what does that mean? That means that somebody's going to absorb those public lands at a severe tax break, you know, to own them. So what? Is he going to own the public lands to push you into this 15-minute city that he calls freedom cities?
Right.
That's our land. You know, the government shouldn't even own land outside of D.C., and garrisons and territories. They're not supposed to own lands. So why do they even have national parks at all? Why do they have government lands at all?
I get it. I get it. You know,
but that's where these supposed cities are going to go. They're going to just take our freaking public parks or whatever. They're basically not going to pay for the land.
Well, the Angry's rotted carcass.
Okay. Anyways,
I love the forests. I hate seeing them do anything into the places I journey in. Anyway, outdoorsman. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, this the whole thing, Jay, is the reason I did this report. I want to give Six a shout out too, and I want to say this. I did this because I was on air with Six, and he had Jay, help me out here. I'm having a big brain fart. The guy from M5 News. Come on, man. Help me.
I don't know. I have a freaking
Gary McBride. Gary McBride, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I think I was on there with Six's crew, and they were down there at January 6th where the families of loved ones. Now, I've been incarcerated and I've been in federal holding facilities, and those places suck. They're hellholes. Those people are they're agonizing away there. Mentally, physically, it's not comfortable. If you don't know how to handle that kind of thing, and it takes a while to learn, okay, then you're in a world of hurt. And the families are in a world of hurt. And that broke my heart. And I don't want to see this happen again to people. And if I have to be harsh about it, I'm kind of like that. I love my mother, God rest her soul. And it really hurts me to this day. She said, Franco, sometimes you're a hard man. You're a hard man. And when you say things, I know you say them out of love, but you say them in a hard way. And I try not to do that now that I'm a little bit older and wiser, but I don't know any other way to say this. Don't be an idiot. Don't go down there, guys. Please. Even if you hate us for saying this, at least spend that time with your loved ones. Forget the presidential politics, guys. Look into the CBDC. It's coming at us. Look at who's going against that. Support them. If they say something, these presidential guys against it, fine. Put it out there. At least people will know about it. But Thomas Massey, all the people that are bringing these anti-CBDC bills. You want to start something organic and fight something true? Start an organic organization against the CBDC because they're not going to stop. It's coming. And back to Six real quick. You guys have done an excellent job covering this January 6th thing, and it's your reporting, dude, that has inspired this emotion in me to warn people that people, what you described, that poor woman got beat bloody in the face. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. They're not listening. We have all these people toiling away in prison, and you're pointing it out, and the great work that you're doing, Six. I just want to thank you for that. And everybody check out Six's work, and don't go down there. Don't be jackasses. Do not go down there for this.
I would just say learn from lessons learned. Remember the movie We Were Soldiers, right? No,
I don't watch a lot of.
It's a war flick, and who was it? Not Harrison Ford. Who was the freak? Can't think. Anyway, he's
Ford.
He's the colonel, and he gets. When he's talking into, they're going into to fight this war or whatever, they're getting dropped in. They end up getting dropped in on like the freaking base camp of the whole division, right? And they're like a little battalion or whatever. And he's like, I'll be the first one off. My foot will hit the ground first, and my foot will be the first or the last off. And that was true in the movie. I thought that was great because I'm a military guy, and I thought it was awesome. And I would say if you look at Donald Trump, his foot never even hit the ground. And then he just skated away. So with the J6 people, he kind of like left them to their own devices, and he made so much money. Alex Jones made so much money. They made so much money, and they can't even – Alex Jones didn't even take care of his own people, and I heard he ended up firing them. Like they're waiting for a reach out. Like, hey, I was out here doing work for you. You sent me here. I'm sorry, we don't need your services anymore. It's like, I got to sell Storm's foods,
Yeah.
It's like, what? So don't do it again, people. Don't, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, won't be fooled again. It was that Bush that said that, whatever, right? But no, like seriously, there's a different way. We learned in the military from lessons learned, right? We do something, it doesn't work out so well. We sit back and we analyze it. We say, hey, what didn't work so well? What did work well? How can we do it better next time? And then what?
Meanwhile, Chris Graves says, Thanks, Chris. Oh, man, excuse me. Meanwhile, the Crypt Keeper in chief sniffs all the prepubescent hair he wants while Trumpty Dumpty takes a magatard fall.
Chris, always entertaining, man.
Yes.
I'm just saying, don't repeat what didn't work before. If you do that, that's called insanity. You do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's insanity.
Yes. Yeah, no. So that was the whole point of this, ladies and gentlemen. Twisted Pistol and Chris, great comments in the chat. I'm just putting them all up because they're all great. Look at that. Yeah, I know. I was real disappointed in Alex Jones too. But hey, that's we live and we learn, right? So, ladies and gentlemen,
I was too, but it showed me his true colors, man. And that's the thing is, you can ride that fence. And I sent David this, and he actually read it on the air. You can walk both sides of a barbed wire fence for a while, but then your nuts get ripped. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't read it like that, but Alex Jones has been walking both sides of a barbed wire fence, and he keeps kind of both people from different sides. But I was like, after the J6 thing, I'm like, no. Actually, it was after he fired David. I was like, no, you're done, bro.
No, I was done, dude, when he didn't go through Trump's, cabinet. I'm like, uh-oh, I was already suspicious, and halfway done there, I'm like, oh, boy. Trump the fact that he got partisan made me done. Then he didn't do that. That made me done. And then the only thing I was listening to was David for, the whole year or so. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't cut you off or anything, Jay. You good? Any final thoughts on this?
No, I'm good, brother. Thank you. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, just ladies and gentlemen, don't go down there. It's a trap. It is a trap. Okay, maybe, for just because I'm going to pretend that me and Jay were, we don't know it. I am a political atheist, as Gerald Celente says. It's the Democrats. They're setting a trap for you. So make sure that you stick to your team and you don't walk into the Democrat trap because you're on this team and they're on that team. Heaven forbid we're all on the team and we all catch it that it's the central bankers and the rest of these things are puppets and that there's nothing left to conserve. The Constitution no longer is working. And like Vince Agnelli says, we need to start over again. And there's a way to do it. And we have a process for it. And if you check out this book, you will learn the process. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, don't waste your time going down there. It is your most valuable commodity. And, spend your time, your most valuable commodity, with someone you love, doing something you love, improving yourself, preferably all three of those things, ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again.
Your time is your most valuable commodity. Cherish it and use it wisely. Until we meet again.